Part 43. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 421. Hearing what Devourer said, Wang Feng felt happy. He knew that it wouldn't be a problem to take these guys out, so he struck while the iron was hot and said, "It should be possible. We hope that the base will have a population of millions and the construction will be larger than it's much better here. If they can get your help here, then we should be able to get more there." Watching Wang Feng's performance, Lu Feng and Meng Fei secretly laughed in their hearts. They didn't expect that Wang Feng actually had some acting talent. At this time, he looked like a money-grubbing citizen, as if he was afraid of the four people in front of him. It's like the rich man changed his mind and refused to provide aid to the Hope Base. "Okay. You can take us to see if your Hope Base really has that large population. Our Renaissance base will definitely support it vigorously," said the leading devourer. "Sir. They are all cruel and murderous people. Can't you help them? Don't be deceived by them. Look. All those people were killed by them." Fang Xiaoun on the side was stunned. He ran over and complained to these adults about the evil deeds of Wang Feng and others. He originally thought that when they met, Wang Feng would be directly captured by these adults. Unexpectedly, the two parties were having a lively conversation now, and Wang Feng actually directly asked these adults for help. Seeing Wang Feng's somewhat flattering expression, Fang Xiaoun was now indescribably disgusted with Wang Feng. Just now, she had scolded herself with a straight face and said that she wanted to ask these adults for an explanation. Now, as soon as she heard that there were resources, she immediately became another face. Wang Feng naturally didn't know that his image in Fang Xiaoun's mind was getting worse, but even if he knew, he wouldn't care, and he had no explanation for Fang Xiaoun's words. Because Wang Feng knows that these devourers don't feel anything about the death of human beings. At most, it is just a pity that the life energy in their bodies is wasted. Because they know that there are devourers here, the life energy in these people's bodies, Wang Feng did not absorb it, for fear that these devourers would see something. Sure enough, after hearing Fang Xiaoun's words, the devourer who kept talking just looked at the corpses on that place, and then said calmly, "I will investigate this matter when I get to the Hope Base. If it's them who deserve to die, then forget it. If not, the murderer will pay the price. How far is your Hope Base from here?" After the devourer finished speaking, he ignored Fang Xiaoun and turned to look at Wang Feng and asked. "Yeah. About 2 days." Wang Feng thought for a while and said truthfully. With Fang Xiaoun here, Wang Feng didn't dare to tell lies. Those guys who came here from the Hope Base will definitely not hide their hope. The location of the base, so Wang Feng did not dare to lie. Number 4. You stay here and wait for number 5 to come back. We will go with them to see the Hope Base. The devourer looked back at the devourer behind him and said. Number 1. No need, right? Let's go see it together. When number 5 comes back, just ask him to wait for us here. Anyway, there are so many people here, so just let them tell you. The one he named devourer said quickly. Hearing what number 4 said, number 1 hesitated, but because all of them devourers were predators with the same level, he could not command the other devourers, and he also knew that because there were without the attraction of the core of life, no one will stay. Okay. Let's go together then. Number 1 nodded helplessly, then turned to Fang Xiaoun, who still looked unhappy, and said, "You stay here and don't go out casually. It may take 2 days for number 5 to go out come back, and he will also bring some other members of our Renaissance base here to help you. When you see him, tell him that we are going to investigate a base and come back after a while and let him do his own thing. No need to wait for us." "Sir. You." Fang Xiaoun opened her mouth and wanted to persuade the devourer, but was interrupted by the devourer with a wave of her hand. Because of the news of the life core, the devourer didn't want to waste time on anything at all. "Okay. You don't need to say much, we naturally know what to do," and our Fuxing base also has our rules, so you don't have to worry about it, just keep your people locked up here. Then, shall we leave now? Wang Feng looked at number 1 and asked softly. Well, let's go now. Number 1 and the others are actually more anxious than Wang Feng now, and of course they will not refuse Wang Feng's suggestion. Okay. Let's go then, Wang Feng said, turning around and waving to Lu Feng, signaling everyone to leave. Your car is pretty good, it should be very fast, right? Devourer 1 asked at this time, pointing at the hurricane. Yeah. It's really fast, Wang Feng nodded, then looked at number 1 and asked, you can stay in the car, so you don't have to rush. No. What I mean is that you only need a few people to take us to your Hope base to have a look. As for the other people, you can stay here and wait, so that we can arrive at your base earlier. Hope base number 1 shook his head. Wang Feng looked embarrassed. Sorry, our base has regulations and we are not allowed to be separated when going out. Moreover, the people here don't seem to be very friendly to us. I'm afraid that if we leave them here, they will follow us. If they have a conflict, let's go back together. Of course Wang Feng would not agree to the Devourer's request. Without these guardian warriors, how could he kill them all? Oh. Forget it. Let's go together. After hearing Wang Feng's words, number 1 did not insist. The reason why he made this suggestion was just because he wanted to see the Hope base as soon as possible, because he didn't know about the Hope base yet. Position, and now, except for the 10,000 people left to guard the base camp, the vanguard of their devourers has spread to various parts of the world. When other devourers arrived at Y Hope base first, he lost his best chance to gain freedom. He had no sense of defense against these guardian warriors, not to mention that he was now appearing as a human being. It was unlikely that they would take action against him. Even if they wanted to kill him, he would not pay attention to these level 4 creatures at all. However, since Wang Feng and the others could not be separated, these devourers did not enter the hurricane. Instead, they let Wang Feng lead the way and the 4 of them just followed. This decision made Wang Feng relieved, because if these 4 devourers were all sitting in the hurricane, it would be very troublesome for them to take action and they would not be able to achieve the unexpected effect. Now that the decision has been made, Fang Xiaoyun has no way to stop these 4 devourers, so she can only watch them leave with Wang Feng and others, with anger and regret on their faces. If she had known that this would happen, Fang Xiaoyun would have directly killed Wang Feng. If Feng and the others were driven away, it would be impossible to bring them into their own base. After leaving Fang Xiaoyun's base, Wang Feng and the others quickly returned to the road they came on. Lu Feng and Meng Fei sat in the hurricane truck, looking at Wang Feng and the 4 devourers walking together outside the car. Talking quietly, they originally wanted to sit on the roof of the car, but they were afraid that the devourer would hear their conversation, so they had to hide in the hurricane car. Lao Meng. When do you think the madman will take action? Lu Feng asked. Not necessarily. But it will definitely be fast. I think as long as we find a relatively open place, the madman will take action. Anyway, we just need to pay attention to the madman's gestures. Actually, I don't think it would be more reliable to deal with them when we get to the Hope base. They won't have anywhere to run if they want to, Lu Feng said softly. Impossible. Didn't you hear what number 1 just said? Number 5 will return to that base in 2 days, and will also bring back some members of their base. They must be other devourers. We must solve it as soon as possible. These 4 people should go back to that base, otherwise they will be in trouble when number 5 brings more devourers. Meng Fei shook his head and said. Apocalypse. It has always been these 4 devourers, no other discoveries, right? Wang Feng asked Tiankai in his heart while walking. No. It's just these 4, Tiankai said with certainty. Number 1 said that number 5 would bring people when he came back. Why? I think the 5 devourers are enough to control that base. No more people are needed, right? Wang Feng asked strangely, remembering what number one had said before. What's this? The Devourer was originally like this. The current base is just because the Devourer doesn't have enough manpower, so the people in that base think they are humans. When the reinforcements of these 5 people arrive, they will understand without you having to expose them. The true face of these Devourers Apocalypse sounded with a somewhat mocking tone. When those Devourers arrive, they will be locked up, just like you humans raise pigs and chickens, treating them as livestock. Why is that? Isn't it good to be like this? Anyway, these people regard them as human beings and won't escape? Why do they still lock people up? Wang Feng asked strangely. That's because they don't need to eat yet. Devourers need to devour life regularly to maintain their bodies. Human beings are their best food. When they need to eat, the survivors of that camp will naturally find them. His true identity, so he must be locked up. Tiankai's answer surprised Wang Feng and asked quickly. In other words, when number 5 comes back, people will start dying in that base. That's right, Tiankai said, and at that time, without your explanation, the humans in that base will also understand the true identities of these devourers. After hearing Tiankai's words, Wang Feng raised his head, looked at the surrounding environment, raised his hands high, pretended to stretch, and made a few gestures in the air to tell the Guardian army behind him to prepare to take action. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 422. Now Wang Feng and his team have been away from Cath City for more than an hour. In fact, Wang Feng originally planned to go out for half a day before taking action, so that he would be more confident. But now after hearing Tiankai's words, Wang Feng felt that he had better kill these guys as soon as possible, and then go back to Cath City to set up an ambush circle to kill the Devourers who came later. Although there was not much contact with the survivors in Cath City, and their leader Fang Xiaoun still had a great prejudice against the Hope Base, they were still human beings after all. If they knew that they would be killed by the Devourers and did not take any action, Wang Feng's ideal of saving mankind would not be mentioned in the future. The soldiers of the Guardian Corps behind him saw Wang Feng's gesture and immediately prepared. Everyone activated the firepower in their bodies and was ready to attack at any time. These Guardian warriors can be said to be the elite among the elite. Before Wang Feng put down his hand, they had automatically divided into 3 groups, each group to deal with a devourer. Because Wang Feng's gesture only asked them to deal with 3 devourers, and Wang Feng left the number 1 to himself, the Guardian warriors would not ask why they only had to kill 3, they only knew to follow orders. After making a gesture to let the Guardian warriors get ready, Wang Feng did not launch an attack immediately, but deliberately stopped suddenly, saying huh, and then looked at the ground, as if there was some treasure on the road. Wang Feng's action made the 4 devourers around him stop as well. They all looked at Wang Feng strangely, but Wang Feng ignored them, listened carefully with his ears tilted, and then said, "What is down there?" The 4 devourers looked at each other, all puzzled. Then, they saw Wang Feng squatting down and putting his ears on the road. Then his eyes lit up, as if he had discovered something. He waved at the 4 devourers and said, "There is something down there. I heard it." The 4 devourers looked at each other again. Number 1 shook his head helplessly, and slowly squatted down, imitating Wang Feng's action, preparing to put his ears to the ground. In fact, the devourer's auditory system is not in the ears, but they are now disguised as humans. In order not to expose their identities, they have to cooperate with Wang Feng. Just when number 1 just bent down, Wang Feng suddenly shouted, "Stop, this is the signal to take action." For ordinary people, the reaction is definitely different when they hear stop and when they hear action. While shouting stop, Wang Feng propped his hand on the ground, and then the knife light flashed, and Apocalypse appeared in his hand, stabbing towards the lower abdomen of number 1. Number 1 heard Wang Feng's shout, and his body paused. At this moment, he suddenly felt a large amount of life energy gathering behind him. This was the energy fluctuation caused when the awakened person condensed his superpowers. However, just when he wanted to look back, he found a beam of light shooting towards his lower abdomen. Before he could react, Apocalypse had already penetrated his lower abdomen, where his consciousness core was located. Knowing that something was wrong, Devourer number 1 immediately wanted to move the position of his consciousness core, but unexpectedly, after Apocalypse directly penetrated his consciousness core, a huge suction force suddenly came, instantly absorbing his consciousness core completely, and the body of this Devourer began to become illusory. After successfully killing number 1, Wang Feng looked back and saw that the Guardians had already started their first battle with the Devourers. Even though they were facing only 3 Devourers of the lowest level, the battle was still very intense. Countless rockets condensed by flames kept flying towards the 3 Devourers. Although the 3 Devourers were very fast, the number of Guardians was more than 1,000 times theirs, so it was impossible for them to dodge all of these rockets. In a few breaths, the 3 Devourers were shot many times by rockets and looked a little embarrassed. Wang Feng stood aside and watched quietly. He killed a Devourer first, just to prove whether his Apocalypse devouring would still work when facing a real Devourer. Now it seems that the result made him very satisfied. Number 1 was basically killed by him instantly. After all, the Devourer's consciousness core is also a kind of life energy, so it is not immune to the absorption of Apocalypse. What Wang Feng didn't know was that if Apocalypse was not using Apostle John as the spirit of the weapon, he might not be able to suppress the consciousness core of the Devourer. Although his consciousness core was also a kind of life energy, it was life energy with consciousness. Apocalypse had no way to absorb it before, just like Apocalypse had no way to absorb his life energy when the life form was still alive. Apocalypse's change was the time when he absorbed the consciousness core of Apostle John, because Apostle John gave his energy to Apocalypse at that time, so in the end, even his consciousness core was absorbed by Apocalypse, and inexplicably became the spirit of Apocalypse. After his consciousness became the spirit of Apocalypse, Apocalypse had a suppressive effect on the Devourer's consciousness core. Because the consciousness core of Apostle John, although not complete, is still among the Devourers, and the existence of the superiority, in terms of level, completely suppressed the consciousness core of this predator, so that he did not even have the opportunity to transfer, and was completely devoured by Apocalypse. This is also determined by the genes of the Devourer. Low-level Devourers have no ability to resist in front of high-level Devourers. Now Wang Feng has proved that he can suppress the Devourer. Although it is the lowest level, it is at least a genuine Devourer, and Wang Feng feels that this genuine Devourer seems to be easier to deal with than the fake Devourer that Apostle John first created. Of course, this is because one is that Wang Feng just attacked by surprise, and the Devourer did not think that his identity had been exposed, so he naturally did not think that Wang Feng would attack him. The second is that the Apocalypse spirit has now been replaced by Apostle John, so the number 1 just died in Wang Feng's hands in such an unclear way. After killing number 1, Wang Feng certainly would not waste no one's body made up of life energy, and directly put it into the Apocalypse space, allowing Apocalypse to absorb all of it. For Wang Feng, the more Apocalypse points, the better, and he would accept anyone who came. As for the remaining 3, Wang Feng did not plan to intervene for the time being. For those Guardian warriors, this was a rare opportunity, just for them to adapt to the battle with the Devourer. He only needed to watch from the side and make sure that these Devourers would not escape. Moreover, the process of killing number 1 just now was so smooth, which also made Wang Feng more confident in himself. Although Wang Feng quickly resolved the battle here, the Guardian warriors were not in a hurry. They were still divided into 3 groups of 1,000 people to fight the 3 Devourers. It was not that they could not kill these Devourers immediately, but they wanted to use these Devourers to familiarize themselves with their abilities and practice cooperation with each other. After several reorganizations, the Guardian Corps has grown in number, but the coordination between the Guardian warriors has become unfamiliar. Even before the second upheaval, many Guardian warriors gave up their coordination and became single-player combat, because at that time, the Guardian warriors, as evolvers, were already the strongest combat power in the world, and basically did not need multiple people to kill a mutant creature together. Now, some old Guardian warriors seem to have returned to the Black Dragon Bridge, fighting against the 100,000 zombies led by the mutant zombie. Although the number of enemies is less now, the danger is no less than that time. When the three Devourers were initially besieged, they kept talking, asking them why they were attacking them, and threatened that if they did not stop, not only would they not provide resources to the Hope Base, but they would also take people to retaliate against the Hope Base. However, no matter how they spoke, no one paid attention to them, and they gradually stopped talking and began to concentrate on resisting the attacks of the Guardian warriors. The battle lasted for about half an hour, and the Guardian warriors gradually became familiar with the battle with the Devourers, so after looking at each other, the first team started to launch a decisive kill. Flame Slash. Ha! A Guardian warrior with special strength rushed out and swung a machete in his hand to chop at the head of a Devourer. On this machete, there was also a fire power attached, which surrounded the blade in flames, looking very domineering. However, the Devourer seemed to be somewhat disdainful of this. The corners of his mouth twitched casually, and his body suddenly rushed out quickly. Before the machete fell, he kicked the guy in the chest with a very fast speed. However, the Guardian warrior seemed to be well prepared. When the Devourer just kicked out, the machete in his hand was immediately retracted and blocked his chest. The flames on the knife also disappeared. Then, the guy was kicked out by the Devourer and his body flew backwards. However, at the same time when the Devourer kicked the Guardian warrior, two blades condensed by flames flew silently from behind the Devourer into his body. The Devourer, who had just kicked the Guardian warrior away, suddenly froze and stopped in place. Moreover, he still maintained the posture in which he had just kicked the Guardian warrior away. It seemed that this posture was very graceful. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 423. However, the Devourer didn't intentionally maintain this posture, because the Devourer's body is composed of energy, so only his consciousness core is his only fatal point. If his fatal core is not destroyed, it is basically impossible to kill him. However, this also leads to that when his consciousness core is attacked, his body will be in an unconscious state. This is the case with the Devourer now. The Guardian warrior who just chopped him with a flame knife looked powerful and majestic, but in fact he was just feinting to attract the Devourer's attention. The real attack came from the two fire blades behind him. When he kicked the Guardian warrior away, the two fire blades also pierced directly into his body, directly attached to his consciousness core, and burned desperately. The attacked Devourer didn't understand why the two flame energies could find the location of his consciousness core so accurately, but he didn't have time to think about it now. His consciousness core was like a person covered in fire, struggling desperately. Fortunately, the battlefield was in his body, and the two flame energies were very small. As long as it took at most 2 breaths, his consciousness core could get rid of the burning of the two flame energies. However, the Guardian warrior didn't want to play anymore. He wanted to kill him directly. How could he give him 2 breaths of time? Almost at the moment when the Devourer's body stiffened, a figure suddenly fell behind him, and then raised his hand and cut off the Devourer's right leg, and then kicked the cut thigh to another Guardian warrior. The superpowers in the other Guardian warrior's body had been prepared long ago. With a wave of his arms, 2 fireballs appeared in his palms, and then they closed in the middle, hugging the thigh, and the superpowers in his body surged wildly, burning the thigh to ashes. This is the way the Guardian warriors themselves fight against the Devourer. In fact, Wang Feng originally taught them to form a group of 10. When encountering a Devourer, 2 of these 10 people will feign to attract the Devourer's attention, and then the other 8 will seize the opportunity to attack the Devourer's weakness with firepower, and then take advantage of the moment when his body is stiff, rush forward and use their power to burn his entire body. This method was told to Wang Feng by the Apostle John, because he knew that when the Devourer's consciousness core was attacked, his body would temporarily lose contact with the consciousness core and lose control for a short time. However, at that time, although the Devourer's body could not move, the consciousness core in his body would definitely move. Therefore, although it consumes some physical strength, it is still the most reliable to burn him while his body is stiff. However, after the battle just now, these Guardian warriors gradually found their previous cooperation methods and became more and more tacit. So, they suddenly had an idea and wanted to try their own methods. Because the earliest cooperation of the Guardian warriors was a combat team of 3 people, so this time a 3-person team was used to try it. Unexpectedly, they actually killed the Devourer. One person fainted, and then the person behind seized the opportunity to condense the flame power into a fire blade and shoot it into the Devourer's body. While attacking the Devourer's consciousness core, it was also equivalent to marking the Devourer's consciousness core, because the Guardian warrior who sent out the fire blade could feel the position of the fire blade he sent out. The second Guardian warrior who rushed up and cut off the Devourer's right leg with a knife and kicked it away directly was the one who sent out the 2 fire blades in front. He felt that the 2 flames he sent out were in the Devourer's right leg at this time, so he cut it off directly and kicked it away immediately, not giving him any chance to recover. It might take 8 people to burn the whole body of the Devourer, but now it's just 1 leg, so 1 person is enough. So, in front of Wang Feng, the 3 Guardians teamed up to perform an almost perfect kill. 3 Guardians with the strength of level 4 creatures teamed up to kill a Devourer who reached the level 5 creature level. Even though there were many Guardians who participated in the battle before, distracting the Devourer's attention, and this Devourer was mass-produced, its real strength was much worse than that of a real level 5 creature, but this could not erase the strongest attack power once the Guardians cooperated. The performance of these 3 people greatly stimulated the other Guardians, so within the next minute, the remaining 2 Devourers also died under the attack of the Guardians. One of the Devourers, when his consciousness core was attacked, his consciousness core ran to his chest, but he still did not escape the fate of death. When the Guardian warrior sensed that the location was the chest, he chopped off the Devourer's arm and head with his first blow, and then cut off his left arm with the next blow. The last blow was to cut off his chest and kicked him away. The Guardian warriors are now divided into groups, with strength and agility as a mixture. The one who rushed up to dismember the body was naturally agile, because they were fast and could rush to the Devourer in time. Moreover, cutting 1 or 2 more blows would not take much more time for them. Holy shit! Are your men so fierce? Did they come up with this method themselves? Tiankai said in surprise, although from the time when these 4 Devourers followed Wang Feng and the others to the Hope Base, Tiankai knew that this guy is dead. Not to mention anything else, 3,000 fire-type awakeners, just 1 fire bomb per person can burn 4 of them to ashes. However, Tiankai never expected that the ones who actually completed the kill in the end were all a 3-person team, and even the 4th person was not used at all. Moreover, among these 3 people, only the one who performed the last step was the awakened one will consume a lot of physical energy, but the other 2 basically don't consume much. In other words, once this method is mastered by all the Guardian warriors, a 3-person team can kill at least 3 Devourers in one battle, with a terrifying 1-to-1 ratio. This is still a 4th level creature. A battle with level 5 creatures. Even if there was a real melee, the effect would not be as ideal, but at least it would be much more efficient than the 10-to-1 tactic designed by Apostle John. For the awakened person, the main reason is that it consumes a lot of money when activating the superpower. That's why it is said that the awakened person in the last link can basically only take one action in that link. However, he can change to the other two positions. Although using superpowers to attack the Devourer's core of consciousness still requires activating superpowers, the cost is much smaller. Of course they came up with it themselves. They are the real experts in terms of coordination. In fact, we only need to tell them the enemy's weaknesses and familiarize them with the opponent's attack methods, and they will find the simplest and most effective attack on their own. Method Wang Feng looked at these guardian warriors with a proud look on his face. How did they develop this kind of cooperation? Tian Kai asked with some confusion. Although he knew that the instructor Li Yingning was the chief instructor at the Hope Base, these guardian soldiers had completed his training before they were able to join the Guardian Legion, but Tian Kai remembered, the soldiers trained by Li Yingning in the past did not seem to be so powerful, at least, they would not have the ability to adjust and adapt to different enemies. One is the training from the instructors, and the other is, obtained on the battlefield. Wang Feng said this with some emotion. Since the establishment of the Hope Base, in every battle, these guardian soldiers have followed us, they all fought their way over from the zombie tide, and they have already lost a lot. Yes. The training of life and death on the battlefield is always the best shortcut for a warrior's progress, but it is also the most cruel. Those who cannot adapt will be eliminated. Apocalypse also responded. No. Although my guardian soldiers have lost a lot, it is not because they are not adapted to the battlefield, Wang Feng said, but he did not explain the reason. He believed that the Apostle John, who was also a soldier, must understand this truth, even if he is not human. Go and collect the bodies of the devourers first. After losing the core of their consciousness, their bodies will gradually dissipate. Don't waste their life energy. Realizing that Wang Feng was suddenly in a bad mood, Tian Kai took the initiative to change the topic. Let's not discuss this again. Yeah, Wang Feng sighed softly and walked towards the corpses of the devourers. He didn't have to help when killing them, but he definitely couldn't do without the spoils. Wang Feng planned to gradually recruit the soldiers of the Legion of Hope in the future. All became awakened ones. Although they did not pass the training of the instructors, at least they were all qualified soldiers. Even if they are allowed to guard the Hope Base, it can be regarded as a force. Anyway, the apocalypse points will never be enough for Wang Feng. Moreover, from the battle just now, Wang Feng suddenly thought that if he uses this, if there is a way to kill the devourer, those guardian warriors who are not fire type can also join in. At least they can feint, and wouldn't it be safer to find some guardian warriors with defensive skills to act as feints? But I don't have time to think about this now. Let's settle the matters in Cat City first. After putting away all the devourers' bodies, Wang Feng looked at the group of guardian warriors who were discussing the battle and exchanging experiences with each other in small groups, and suddenly shouted, "All the troops gather! Doomsday Special Forces." Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 424. After hearing the order, the guardian soldiers immediately gathered together and formed a neat square formation. They quietly waited for Wang Feng's order. Wang Feng didn't say much. He first turned to look at Lu Feng and said to Lu Feng, "Lao Lu, go back and tell the troops behind you to select the guardian warriors and bring them all with defensive skills, ready to join the battle, and tell them to let them continue. Keep your distance from us, don't let them catch up to us without calling them, and let them be ready to receive survivors at any time." When setting off this time, Huang Hua and other non-fire awakeners, along with the other awakened guardian warriors and 50,000 Hope Legion soldiers, set out with Wang Feng, but they didn't follow too closely. Now Wang Feng suddenly wanted some guardian warriors with defensive skills to join the battle against the devourer. Whether they are making feints to attract attention, or taking action in times of crisis to help other guardian warriors resist attacks, these guardian warriors with defensive skills can always come in handy. Lu Feng agreed, and then returned the way they came, to find Huang Hua and the others behind them. They followed all the way and had to collect supplies. They were probably even busier than him. Watching Lu Feng leave, Wang Feng continued to look at the guardian warriors in front of him, nodded, and said loudly, "You are very good, very good. All of my grandmas are smarter than me. At least the method you just used is smarter than I thought." But, after hearing Wang Feng's words, Tian Kai was the first to be unhappy and protested, "Then what the hell is that what I want? Even if it's not a good method, you can't take it as your own? This is infringement. You can sue me." No one took care of this matter before the end of the world, let alone now, Wang Feng replied nonchalantly to Tianqi. After such a long time, he has become accustomed to this person who often criticizes him. The apocalypse weapon spirit did not regard itself as the master at all, and then continued. "However, your method is good, but were there too few devourers just now? I think you haven't practiced enough, so I decided to take you back to Carter City, because there will be more devourers there. The soldiers are here to let you practice, but I'm not sure about their number at the moment. There may be dozens, hundreds, or even thousands. Do you dare to go?" "Dare," the uniform shouts of more than 3,000 people echoed in the empty land. Even Lu Feng, who ran far away, heard it. He paused, shook his head slightly, sighed and smiled. This crazy guy must have started mobilizing before the battle again, haha. Just wait. Someone will scold him again tomorrow for delaying the number of words. Hearing the answers from the guardian soldiers, Wang Feng nodded with satisfaction, then waved his hand and shouted, "Let's go. Target Cat City." When they saw Cat City again, it was less than 3 hours since they left. Wang Feng looked at the city in front of him and felt a little funny in his heart. He didn't know that the survivors of Cat City were looking at Wang Feng, didn't want to guess how they would feel when they came back so soon, but that Fang Xiaoun would never give him a good look. Thinking of this, Wang Feng couldn't help but have a headache, because when they fought against the Devourers, no one in Cat City saw them, and the corpses of those Devourers would dissipate very quickly after losing their core of consciousness, and they could not be seen at all. Save, even within the apocalypse space, so they have all been turned into apocalypse points by Wang Feng. Now that they are back, they can only try their best to persuade these survivors, but with Fang Xiaoun here, this job will never be easy. Wang Feng sighed, and could only bite the bullet and walk towards Cat City, whether they wanted to or not. The worst case scenario is to just use force. "I said. Is this how you plan to go?" Tian Kai's voice suddenly sounded. "Huh," Wang Feng was stunned for a moment, then stopped. "Do you have any good ideas?" Seeing Wang Feng stop, Meng Fei behind him also stopped the hurricane, and all the guardian warriors also stopped, wondering what happened again. "I suggest that you don't go there yet. It will be dark in 2 hours anyway. Then, you can take advantage of the darkness to sneak into the city's extra perimeter and lie in wait for the Devourers to arrive." Apocalypse told Wang Feng got an idea. "What do you mean?" Wang Feng didn't quite understand and asked again. "This is not simple. According to my understanding of Devourer, after number 5 brings people back this time, he will definitely reveal his true colors immediately, imprison all the survivors, and directly arrest them in front of them. Some people came to devour it," Tian Kai explained. "When that time comes, you go in, kill those devourers, and rescue those humans. This will save you a lot of time. It will also make them grateful to you. When that time comes, if you let them join the Hope Base, there will definitely be no any difficulty. Moreover, when those devourers are devouring, they will definitely focus on their own food. At that time, it happens to be the time for your sneak attack. It will be easier to use these people as bait to kill those devourers. It just so happens that kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Get out. What the hell are you coming up with? Don't you know it will kill people, Wang Feng was furious. Apostle John. I'm warning you, don't give me such ideas in the future, they are me. I will not use this method to exchange for their trust and gratitude. I would rather let them misunderstand me than send their lives to the devourer. Didn't you kill so many people before? Tiankai was a little unconvinced. Those people I killed were those who had a way to die. At this time, not only could they not bring any help to mankind, but they were also holding them back, so I killed them, Wang Feng said. But the people here are different. Just looking at the attitude of their leader named Fang Xiaoun towards us, I know that there shouldn't be anything too dark happening here. Although that girl is relatively calm, some impulsive, but at least they have a good heart, but they are a little young or have less experience, so they are completely different from those guys. The most important thing is that she's pretty, right? Tiankai muttered. Get out. I don't have time to talk to you about this. Anyway, I'll go over and tell them now. Stop talking nonsense. Also, remember not to do this kind of thing for me in the future, using the same kind of people as bait. This has already touched my nerves. The bottom line, Wang Feng said angrily and continued walking towards Cat City. The bottom line is always important in everything. It will be difficult for you to survive in this apocalypse. Apocalypse continued unwillingly. If there is no bottom line, what difference does it have from zombies? We are humans, not zombies. If I do that, I will be no different from the bastards I killed. Live. Live like a human being. Wang Feng was not moved at all. Okay. You win. But I really like a little guy like you, haha. To Wang Feng's surprise, Tiankai seemed very happy. Are you sick? Wang Feng cursed at Tiankai in his heart. Why did your tone change so quickly? Do you have medicine? Tiankai replied very quickly, the idea I just came up with was just to test you. To be honest, that method is indeed the best plan. However, if you really adopt it, I will really. It's a bit depressing. After spending so much time with humans, I think the biggest thing that touches me is human emotions. Congratulations then. Although you lost your human body, you gained your human soul, Wang Feng said with a smile. Pull him down. It seems that humans are so enviable. Tian Qi didn't appreciate Wang Feng's congratulations. Okay. I won't talk nonsense to you. We were found over there. Wang Feng suddenly saw that there were a lot of people on the wall of the inner city of Cat City, and Fang Xiaoun was among them, holding a telescope. Looking at them, he quickly ended the conversation with Tiankai. Madman, they found us, Meng Fei said from above the hurricane. Should we go to a few people to talk to them about the situation? If we go all at once, I'm afraid there will be a conflict. That little girl seems to have a bad temper. Plus, she seems to have a lot of dissatisfaction with you. I really think she might do something irrational, and if there is any irreconcilable conflict, it will be troublesome. Okay, after Wang Feng thought for a while, he felt that this was indeed the case. Those on the opposite side already knew that all the guardian warriors on his side were awakened ones, which was enough to take over their city. So why all went up and followed that Fang Xiaoun's character might really be able to shoot directly. Although I am not afraid, it is still troublesome. After all, even an awakened person may die if he is hit by a bullet. If a guardian warrior is really injured or killed by them, then it is really the end. There is an unsolvable grudge. Old Meng. Just you and me, the two of us will go over, the others stay here and wait. Wang Feng turned around and shouted to Meng Fei. Then he remembered that Fang Xiaoun knew Wang Mi and the others, so he called out the third child again. The five people walked towards the inner city of Carter City together. When Wang Feng and the others were walking towards the inner city of Carter City, the guardian warrior driving the hurricane directly opened the missile launch hole of the hurricane. The warheads of the two surface-to-surface missiles were raised, and a ferocious face emerged from the launch port, aiming at the direction Wang Feng and the five of them were heading. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzu. Chapter 425. Sister Ying. Look, there are missiles on their car. Fang Xiaoun, who had been observing Wang Feng and the others with a telescope, noticed the missiles launched by Hurricane. Although she didn't recognize Hurricane, the appearance of the missiles was too obvious. Even if she didn't have any military knowledge, she would know about this powerful weapon. She couldn't help but feel nervous. Are they going to attack us with missiles? What should we do? Zhao Ying, who was also observing Wang Feng and the others with a telescope, shook her head and comforted them. Yun Yun. Don't be nervous, at least they won't use missiles now, otherwise, their leader won't come. While speaking, Zhao Ying sighed in his heart that Fang Xiaoun was still too young. No matter how he taught and supported her, she was still a little bit helpless. But fortunately, Fang Xiaoun still listened to him so far, which made Zhao Ying worry less. Fang Xiaoun and Zhao Ying have a complicated relationship. Fang Xiaoun's father is Zhao Ying's first love boyfriend, who is more than 10 years older than Zhao Ying. The two were once in love, but later due to some changes, they did not get together. Zhao Ying is more devoted to love, and she has not married in her 30s. She has been waiting for Fang Xiaoun's father. As a result, Fang Xiaoun's mother died in an accident. Zhao Ying originally thought that she finally had a chance this time, but she did not expect that the end of the world would come, and Fang Xiaoun's father turned into a zombie. The three of them were together at the time. After finding something wrong, Zhao Ying hurriedly pulled Fang Xiaoun away. Due to good luck, Zhao Ying was the first to break through and become an enhancer. Zhao Ying, who is experienced in society, knows that in this end of the world, women can only survive by relying on their bodies or abilities. After becoming an enhancer, she took Fang Xiaoun around and kept hunting those zombies with a small number. It was also their luck that they did not encounter a large group of zombies. They killed all the way and Fang Xiaoun became an enhancer. After they had the strength, they simply set up a survivor camp in Lumen County and took in a lot of survivors. At the most, the number of survivors in their camp once reached more than 100,000. However, due to Fang Xiaoun, some people were unwilling to stay and left the camp. In addition, after the second upheaval, their camp was also attacked by mutants. Fortunately, Sang Xiao came to remind them before, and there were not many mutants attacking their camp, so now they still have about 60,000 survivors. Zhao Ying looked at Wang Feng who was walking slowly, and knew in her heart that Wang Feng must have no ill intentions, otherwise, he would not leave his team behind, and he came with 3 children and a subordinate, although Zhao Ying also knew that the strength of the 3 children was probably not worse than any strong man in his camp. But these 3 children once came to Lumen County to bring them the news of the second upheaval. Wang Feng brought them 3, clearly telling himself that they were just here to negotiate. But why did they come back so soon? Where did the 4 mysterious people go? Didn't they leave together? 3 hours, it is impossible to reach any camp, could it be? Thinking of this, Zhao Ying looked at Fang Xiaoun and said, Yun Yun. Remember, don't speak in a while. No matter what happens, you must keep silent and let me handle it. Do you understand? You also saw the missiles. If you anger them again like before, not only our base will be lost, but also our. Fang Xiaoun looked at Zhao Ying with a horrified look on her face, and nodded somewhat at a loss. She was indeed too young. Before she didn't know the strength of Wang Feng and others, she could still be willful. Now she knows that each of those people is not worse than the strongest combat power on her side, and now the 5 mysterious people are not here. Fang Xiaoun suddenly became afraid at this time. She was still young and didn't want to die. She originally thought that the 5 mysterious people could support her. As a result, who would have thought that after those big men knew the situation of the Hope base, they were so eager to follow these guys, and their attitude towards her was not as easygoing as before. Fang Xiaoyun had no idea that the 5 devourers were so polite to her because they wanted to control the more than 60,000 survivors through her. Since they only had 5 people, they were worried that if they used force to suppress them, these people would rise up to resist or flee. Although with their strength, it would not be difficult to kill all of them. However, when humans die, their life energy will gradually disappear. In fact, this is just like humans herding sheep. They will occasionally kill one of the sheep to eat, but they can't kill them all at once. This is because they can't finish eating and worry about waste, not because they love these sheep. Now, number 5 will soon bring their follow-up troops, which are enough to control these humans. Anyway, they will be locked up and raised as animals at that time, so there is no need to be too polite. What's more, there is a bigger group of fat sheep waiting for them, so their attitude will certainly change. Fang Xiaoyun no longer has her previous arrogance. Her attachment to life and fear of death make her unconsciously afraid. Before the end of the world, her father had been taking care of her, and after the end of the world, Zhao Ying had been with her. It can be said that Fang Xiaoyun is indeed very lucky. Even in the end of the world, she has never suffered any hardship or pain. However, sometimes, it is really difficult to say whether a person's experience is lucky or unfortunate. It is impossible to cultivate towering trees in a greenhouse. Because Fang Xiaoyun has always had people taking care of her throughout her life, this has led to her unruly and willful character. Fortunately, she met Wang Feng. If it were anyone else, even Lu Feng who had not changed before, he might have directly treated her without saying a word. They captured all the people and the camp. Now, when Fang Xiaoyun discovered that if the people in the Hope base really turned their backs and attacked them, they would not be able to resist them at all, and they couldn't help but start to panic. It can be said that this was the first time in her life that she felt something. This huge sense of crisis made her a little confused and didn't know how she should deal with it. Therefore, when she heard Zhao Ying's words, she nodded involuntarily, and had no intention of continuing to confront Wang Feng. She just wanted Wang Feng and the others to leave quickly, thinking of their decisiveness and kindness when they killed just now. With the speed and murderous intent in the eyes of those guarding warriors, Wang Feng and the others are now the god of plague in Fang Xiaoyun's eyes. The sooner they are sent away, the better. When Wang Feng and the other 5 people came to the city gate under the defensive wall, the city gate was opened before they could speak. Zhao Ying knew that if Wang Feng and the others wanted to harm themselves, this city gate would be useless. It is better to open it directly and appear more friendly. After entering the city gate, Zhao Ying was standing at the door waiting for them. After seeing Wang Feng, she just nodded to Wang Feng but said nothing because Zhao Ying didn't know what she should say. You must want to know where the 4 people who followed us before are now, right? Wang Feng turned his head and looked at Fang Xiaoyun who was not daring to come down from the wall. He breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It seemed that the words he said before had some effect, at least making this unruly woman fearful of him, which saved him a lot of trouble. Otherwise, when I was talking about the devourer, this girl kept making trouble on the side, which would not be a pleasant thing. Zhao Ying heard Wang Feng's words, looked at Fang Xiaoyun, and found that she behaved quite well. She didn't speak, but just stood on the wall obediently. She couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and then nodded to Wang Feng. He nodded and said, if my guess is correct, those people must have very mysterious identities, right? No, to Zhao Ying's surprise, Wang Feng shook his head and said, first, their identity is not really a mystery, because we know their origins, and second, they are not human, at least, not the same people as us. Wang Feng's words can be said to be groundbreaking to the ears of these survivors in Cat City. Even Zhao Ying, before, was just guessing that these people were members of some mysterious organization and wanted to take advantage of the situation. In this apocalyptic world, some earth-shattering plans will be carried out. At least, isn't that how it is played in the movies? Unexpectedly, Wang Feng's opening directly transferred their nationalities to an alien planet. However, looking at Wang Feng's eyes, Zhao Ying felt that Wang Feng had not deceived him, and there was no need for Wang Feng and the others to deceive him. With such strong strength, plus such a huge base and millions of, is it necessary to deceive myself about the population of this small base that does not reach even 100,000 people? Seeing that Zhao Ying did not seem to question his words, Wang Feng selectively told Zhao Ying about the devourer. However, Wang Feng did not explain in detail how he knew these things. He just carried out the mysterious old man, piling all the intelligence sources on him. This is what we know. Just like before, when we knew that the second drastic change would happen, we asked these three little guys to warn you. It is the same this time. We hope that the base is not a murderous person. Otherwise, there would not be millions of people staying with us and accepting our protection. After explaining the origin and danger of Devourer, Wang Feng continued. And now, there are two roads before you. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 426. Wang Feng looked at Zhao Ying and said, the four devourers before, that is, the four guys who left with us and were going to see our Hope base, have been killed by us. However, since their bodies are formed by energy, I have no way to save them, and now there is no way to prove it to you. However, the number 5 they mentioned is also a devourer, and soon that number 5 will bring more devourers. When they come again, that is when they start to attack you, so I mentioned two options. One is to leave immediately and go to our Hope base. Of course, I also know that you may not believe us, so you can choose the second option, which is to stay here. However, I hope you can hide, cooperate with us temporarily, and obey my command. Because we are going to be in we will set up in our city, and we will ambush. I think when we fight those devourers, you will be able to see their true identities. As for whether you will continue to stay here after destroying them or go to our Hope base, you can make a decision at that time. However, before that, I don't want you to expose our identities, so you have to hide outside the city and give us your city temporarily, because when those devourers come back, this place will become a killing battlefield, and I don't want you to join it, no matter which side you want to help. Now, you can tell me what your choice is. Or, you can discuss it first, but it's better to be as soon as possible, because we don't have much time. Wang Feng finished speaking, looked at Zhao Ying, waiting for her to make a decision. Can I discuss it with them first? Zhao Ying said hesitantly. I can't make the decision alone. Of course, Wang Feng nodded and said, but it's better to be quick. I'll wait for your news here. Okay, I got it. We will give you a reply immediately. Zhao Ying nodded, and finally turned around and walked up to the city wall, calling the survivors of Cat City to discuss it together. Sister Ying, I think something is wrong. If those adults are really aliens, why would they help us? After Zhao Ying repeated Wang Feng's words, Fang Xiaoun was the first to question. Besides, I always don't trust these guys. You should ask them to leave. Fang Xiaoun still couldn't get rid of her bad opinion of Wang Feng, so she didn't believe even a single punctuation mark in Wang Feng's words. Naturally, she was the first to stand up and oppose it, but she didn't dare to drive Wang Feng away by herself, so she had to instigate Zhao Ying, because she found that Wang Feng seemed to be very polite to Zhao Ying, but because of her fear of Wang Feng and others, Fang Xiaoun added the word please. Ask them to leave. Zhao Ying smiled bitterly and shook her head. Didn't you hear? He only gave us two options. One is that we go to their Hope base now and join them. The second is that we give them the city and let them prepare here and arrange their ambush battlefield. There is no third option for us. In other words, they have no intention of leaving at all, so now we can only choose one of the two options they gave us. What do you think we should do? I think we can actually choose the first option and go directly to their hope base, because they didn't use force against us right away. This should be very easy for them. If they use force right away, we have no ability to resist. I think you have also seen that their strength is far beyond our ability to resist, so I don't think they have deceived us at all, because there is no need. Okay, I decided to do this. I chose to go to their hope land. Of course, how we do it specifically needs to be discussed by everyone, and then make a decision. Everyone, please speak up. After Zhao Ying finished speaking, he kept silent and waited for everyone to make a decision. Sister Ying. We listened to you. A strong man spoke first. Yeah. That's right, let's listen to Sister Ying. Another young man also spoke up. Sister Ying. I think we can choose the second path first, just follow what they said, hide outside the city, and see if what they said is true. Didn't they say that the Devourer will be back soon? After they fight, we can see if what they said is true. Seeing that everyone agreed with what Zhao Ying said, Fang Xiaoun was a little anxious, so she objected again, but this time she didn't mention the matter of driving Wang Feng and others away, but chose the second path left by Wang Feng for them. Zhao Ying frowned, but since Fang Xiaoun had already spoken, she couldn't directly refute. Besides, Fang Xiaoun didn't refuse to go to the Hope base, she just wanted to confirm it, so she could only reluctantly nod and said softly, okay. I'll tell them that we choose the second way, but Yun. If they agree, you don't make trouble anymore, and don't do anything, okay. Sister Ying, don't worry, I know, Fang Xiaoun nodded and said solemnly. After Zhao Ying looked at the other people around him and saw that no one had any objections, he walked down the city wall again and came to Wang Feng. He looked at Wang Feng and said apologetically. I'm sorry. Our people still don't quite believe you, so we want to stay here, but we will hide on the outskirts of the city as you asked. If those people come back and confirm that they are indeed aliens, man, I think we will follow you back to Hope Base and join you. It doesn't matter, Wang Feng nodded magnanimously. In fact, he had already expected this result. After all, this is the end of the world, and you should be careful. However, when those people come back, your people will not. If anything unexpected happens, I will not guarantee your safety. Don't worry, I understand this, Zhao Ying nodded, and then said, then shall we start now? Well, let's start now. After you give up the city, we have to prepare. When you see our devourers fighting, you will know how terrifying these guys are. Wang Feng nodded in agreement. Okay, I understand. After Zhao Ying finished speaking, he waved to the people on the city wall, everyone, come down. Let's get ready and go outside the city wall. Afterwards, Zhao Ying and the others began to take the survivors of Cat City and some items to move to the buildings outside the defensive wall. Fortunately, there are no zombies or other mutant creatures around Cat City. So even if you leave the center and are not protected by a defensive wall, there is no danger. Now that an agreement had been reached, while Zhao Ying and the others were taking action, Wang Feng also called the Guardian warriors to enter the center of the city and began to choose their positions to ambush the Devourer. Although the Devourer said that the people brought by number 5 still have 2 days to get here, after all, the time is uncertain, and it is always good to prepare in advance to avoid any surprises. About 4 or 5 hours later, all the survivors in Cat City left the inner city under the leadership of Zhao Ying and hid in the outskirts of the city. Perhaps they all wanted to see the battle clearly, and because no one knowing which direction the Devourers would come from, these survivors found some random buildings to hide in directly outside the city wall. Of course, Wang Feng had warned them that although they did not join the battle, they should still be vigilant. When they saw someone coming here, they should suppress all their life energy and not spread it to avoid being noticed by the Devourer. And Wang Feng and the others all entered the city. They did not arrange for anyone to pretend to be survivors in Carter City outside. What Wang Feng thought was that when the devourers came here, they would find that the city was full of people. There is no one in it. In this case, maybe they will search around, so that the devourers will be dispersed, which will be more advantageous for their sneak attack. The guardian warriors were not too dispersed and hidden. Instead, they were all concentrated near the central square of the city, because the number of devourers was unknown, and if they were too dispersed, it would not be conducive to their mutual support. At this time, night has enveloped the earth. Except for Wang Feng, the other guardian warriors all put on night vision goggles. No matter when the devourers come, since they have entered the ambush point, they must remain vigilant at all times. But that night, there was no movement. Instead, at dawn, Lu Feng came here with nearly 1,000 guardian warriors. However, because Lu Feng was more cautious, when he saw that there was no one in Cat City, first approached the city wall and called Wang Feng on the intercom. After receiving a response, he led the other guardian warriors into the city center of Cat City. The new guardian warriors were quickly disrupted and divided into combat groups with other guardian warriors. The guardian warriors did not need Wang Feng and the others to direct these matters at all, they took care of everything themselves. In order to allow the new guardian warriors to become familiar with the devourers' fighting methods as quickly as possible, after being divided into groups, the guardian warriors also simulated the original battle scenes, allowing those guardian warriors who had not competed with the devourers to have a brief understanding. After everything was ready, Wang Feng and everyone at Hope Base began their long lurking again, waiting for the coming devourer army. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 427. After another day of waiting, near dusk, news of the arrival of the devourer finally came over the intercom. Because Wang Feng was also lurking in a building, it was impossible to see everyone around him, but there were guardian warriors there. But there is no need to worry about this problem. Even if the devourer comes down from the sky, it cannot escape the monitoring network of the guardian warriors. After learning that the devourer arrived at dusk, Wang Feng didn't know whether he was lucky or not. Apocalypse had told him that the devourer did not have night vision, so if he fought the devourer at night, it would definitely be for him. Wang Feng and the others are even more advantageous. After all, the guardian soldiers all wear night vision goggles. But the problem is that their current main battle force is all awakened people with fire-type abilities. Once the war starts, fireballs will definitely fly all over the sky, and the guardian warriors with night vision goggles will suffer a big loss. Wang Feng hurriedly ran to a room on his left, which was the direction from which the devourers were coming. Because the guardian warriors always had people observing the surroundings with telescopes from the commanding heights of the city, these devourers were guarded before they entered the periphery of the city. The soldier found out. Wang Feng is also at the top of a high-rise building now. Due to the existence of the sky eye, he can see the devourers flying towards the city without using a telescope. It seems that these devourers don't like transportation. It moves by itself. Wang Feng counted and found that there were more than 200 devourers in total. He calculated in his mind that the gap with the guardian warriors was about 20-1, so he secretly made a decision in his heart and prepared to try his best to delay the fight with these devourers at night. Although the firelight has a great impact on the night vision device, it is 40-1. Wang Feng feels that it is just the tacit cooperation of the guardian warriors, and it is an ambush. In addition, the devourer's vision is greatly affected when it is dark. Impact, it is very possible to kill all these devourers in one ambush. Everyone pay attention, hide yourself, don't expose yourself, try to delay the time, wait until the sky is completely dark before attacking. Wang Feng issued an order to the walkie-talkie. In more than half an hour, the sky will be completely dark. The urban area of Cat City is so large, and there are only more than 100 devourers. Since all the guardian warriors can hide, they will never be found in half an hour. After Wang Feng gave the order, he continued to look at the devourers through the gaps in the blinds. At this time, they had entered the city and were approaching the inner city. However, it seemed that they had discovered something was wrong, because it was still dusk. The sky was not completely dark, but it seemed that Cat City had become quite quiet, with no movement at all. Even the sentries on the city wall were nowhere to be seen. So, all those devourers stopped and looked carefully at the city within the wall, but no matter how they looked, they couldn't even see half a person. Number 5. What's going on with you? Didn't you say that you have brought all the people to the city? Why can't I see anyone? Or have you locked them all up? A devourer frowned. He asked with an eyebrow. Although they are not human beings, speaking human words and learning human expressions and movements are quite similar. It is really difficult for ordinary people to tell the difference. Because these devourers are exactly the same as humans in appearance, speech, and behavior. However, if you look carefully, you can find that the devourer's eyes are dark red, but it is not very obvious. This is the only difference between devourers and humans is, of course, that their body structures are completely different from humans. However, who would cut open another person's body to see his body tissue? Even if the color of the eyes is dark red, devourer can definitely say that it is caused by his own superpower, just like the mysterious old man explained to Wang Feng. Therefore, basically if devourer mixes into the crowd, it's hard to tell, unless like Wang Feng, with the help of Apocalypse, the devourer can't escape. Isn't it possible? When I left, there were more than 60,000 survivors here. How could there be no survivors? Number 1 and the others should be here too. Another devourer looked at the empty city, confused. Said, it seems that he is the number 5 who came to Cat City with the 4 devourers who were killed by Wang Feng and the others. Now number 5 seemed to have suffered some unfair injustice, so he defended himself. Did you also see the zombies there when you came here just now? We lured those zombies there. After we lured them away, I built a wall here again, and then tricked more than 60,000 humans who were originally hiding in a nearby county to come here, and then I went to find you to help and lock these humans up as our food reserves. We have seen zombies, but for us, it is very easy to attract hundreds of millions of zombies to one place and prevent them from leaving. After all, this is our specialty, and any life ball can do it. Human beings are different. If there are too many, it will be difficult to control them, so they can only be locked up, another devourer said. Because of this, we will try our best to keep the zombies and wait for the mother nest to come and deal with them centrally. This year, we can only use those humans to replenish energy. After all, are zombies easy to manage? As long as the life ball is still there, those zombies will not leave there, let alone 1 year, 10 years, but will attract all the surrounding zombies there. Let me see, you are just afraid of trouble. Those humans must not have come here yet. You want to trick us first, and then help you capture humans, right? When number 5 heard the words of the devourer, he immediately defended. Absolutely not. We have successfully deceived the human leaders into believing in us, and we have built such a safe living area for them. The human leaders have already trusted us quite a bit. In fact, even without you, we can also protect the people here until the day when the brood comes, ensuring that none of them will run away secretly. It's just that we also need to replenish energy after all, and the above stipulates that we can't devour those zombies at will. We can only attack humans and mutant beasts that are difficult to manage. We are not even allowed to devour those mutant plants. So, once Hao was afraid that when we were devouring the humans here, we would be discovered by other humans and scare them away, so I asked me to go back to find you for support. The devourer who had just suspected number 5 was about to speak again when he was suddenly stopped by a devourer next to him, number 7. Needless to say, I believe that the current situation here is not the problem of number 5 and the others. This planet does have some problems. No, after we arrived, We didn't do anything at all, and the planet was already overrun by zombies. Moreover, no matter how you look at these zombies, they all look like they were made by our kind. The mutated substance that infects the creatures on this planet is exactly the same as what we use, but so far we have not found any trace of our kind on this planet. Could it be that, is there another group of devourers in this universe? And is this the ranch they built? Maybe, what happened here is what they did. When the devourer said this, Wang Feng, who had been observing them from a distance, suddenly changed his face. These devourers may have wanted to prevent themselves from being exposed, so not only did they make their appearance exactly the same as that of humans, but even the conversations between them also used the common language of this planet. Wang Feng was proficient in lip reading, so he could naturally see what they said. Apocalypse. Can you answer me a question? Wang Feng suppressed the anger in his heart and coldly asked the apocalypse in his body. Ah! What's the problem? Tiankai asked quickly after hearing something was wrong in Wang Feng's tone. The devourer did this to turn the humans on our planet into zombies, right? Wang Feng was in a very bad mood at this time, although he had long suspected that the original apocalyptic skyfire was not a natural disaster, but a man-made disaster. But when the truth was finally revealed to him, he couldn't help but feel the anger in his heart. Eh? Why do you ask that? Tiankai was surprised. Humph. Answer me first, right? Wang Feng didn't answer Tiankai's question at all, because he now had some doubts about Tiankai. Alas. I don't know, but I am more than 95% sure that the accident on your planet was definitely not caused by Devourer, since he has already merged with Wang Feng. Apocalypse also he could feel Wang Feng's mood at this time, so he sighed and replied. No? Then why would those devourers say that the zombies appearing on this planet look exactly like the mutated substances used by devourers? Wang Feng obviously did not believe Apocalypse's words. What did they say? Tiankai asked again, so Wang Feng repeated to Tiankai exactly what the devourer just said, and then asked. Apocalypse. With your understanding of Galactus, it's impossible for you not to know that this disaster on our planet was done by Galactus, right? They are the masterminds behind this disaster. Why have you never mentioned it before? Or are you another race of devourers as those devourers said? Of course not. I do know the devourers very well, but I am really not another devourer race. As for why I didn't say that they had the ability to cause disasters on this planet when I introduced the devourers, Apocalypse sighing, of course it's because of me. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 428. After hearing Tiankai's words, Wang Feng did not speak, quietly waiting for Tiankai to tell his reasons. When we, the 12 apostles, discovered that the heavenly fire was coming, we also felt that this seemed to be the devourer coming and doing all this, because this kind of alienation of living bodies and making them lose their minds is indeed a method commonly used by the devourer, so we immediately searched all over the world, but we found no trace of devourer. Apocalypse continued. This is a bit unconventional, because after the alienation virus is spread, the devourer should appear immediately and use the life ball to control these zombies. This is their purpose of turning people into zombies, because after losing their minds, these zombies' food will be easier to control. You just heard that the devourers also said that after they arrived, all the creatures on this planet turned into zombies without doing anything. This is because the devourer only starts to spread the alienated virus after it lands on the planet, and it will never be as massive as the arrival of Skyfire, because that will lead to the death of a large number of lives. For the devourer, that is a waste food, plus no devourer appeared, so I can basically confirm that the coming of heavenly fire was not caused by devourer. The most important thing is the thick fog that came down on this planet during what you call the Second Great Change. You have experienced it yourself. You should know that the thick fog contains a lot of life energy. As devourers, they attack living things. The purpose of the planet is to obtain life energy. How can it be possible to waste such huge life energy on your planet? It is absolutely not worth the gain for them. Hearing Apocalypse's explanation, Wang Feng asked in shock, "You mean, Devourer has the ability to control zombies?" It's not control, because they have no way to direct the actions of zombies. However, when humans become zombies, they will become very lustful for blood. Moreover, the huge life energy is also very attractive to them. Devourers have this thing called a life ball can emit a strong bloody smell and huge life energy fluctuations. Tian Kai replied, they can use these life balls to gather zombies in a certain place so that they will not move around. Even zombies that have evolved some consciousness will never be able to escape the temptation of that life ball. So, after turning humans into zombies, it will be easier for them to concentrate the creatures on this planet. Since they have the ability to turn people into zombies, why don't these devourers just turn all of the survivors in Cat City into zombies? Instead, they want to find their own kind to help and take care of these people. Wang Feng thought of a key question. Because these people did not mutate when the sky fire came, it shows that their system can resist the invasion of the alienated virus. In addition, the dense fog that fell during the second drastic change strengthened their bodies again. Therefore, now the alienated virus is basically it doesn't work for them anymore, and it happens on every planet. Tian Kai replied, their alienated viruses also have weaknesses. One is that it is impossible to infect all living things on a planet. The other is that after using it, organisms that have breathed the alienated virus and have not been infected will have antibodies will appear, so each planet basically only has one chance to use the alienated virus. So I said that the original apocalyptic skyfire was not only not launched by the Devourers, it was probably launched by their enemies. Moreover, the first apocalyptic skyfire and the second thick fog came from the same race. They are definitely not from this planet. It seems that they are using these two actions to cultivate the creatures of your planet so that you have enough power to fight against the Devourer. Humph. What do you mean, the apocalyptic skyfire came to help us? Wang Feng snorted coldly. That's not true. They are just using you to attack the Devourers. As for the Devourers, after they are destroyed by you, it is unknown whether they will appear and deal with you again. However, even if they know it now, there are other masterminds behind the scenes, and you have no choice, because it is absolutely undeniable that the Devourer is your enemy, so whether he is being used or not, you must kill the Devourer first before considering anything else. Apocalypse's answer made Wang Feng feel helpless. However, Apocalypse was indeed telling the truth. No matter what, he had to deal with the Devourer first. After passing the Devourer level, he would consider other things. At this time, the Devourer seemed to have already discussed it, and they began to slowly approach the center of the city. However, they seemed to be very cautious, as if they had confirmed that there was their enemy in the center of the city. Watching these Devourers slowly approaching, Wang Feng ended his conversation with Tian Kai. He picked up the walkie-talkie and said softly, "Everyone, please pay attention. The Devourers have begun to take precautions. They are all hiding and waiting for my orders. The Devourers have increased their vigilance, which is actually more beneficial to Wang Feng and the others. Because they are so cautious, the search speed will be reduced. When it gets dark, it is time for Wang Feng to launch a general attack." However, just when Wang Feng felt a little lucky and was staring at the Devourers with all his attention, a voice came from the intercom, "Head. Look at your 5 o'clock direction, there is something going on." Wang Feng was stunned, then turned around and rushed to the window behind him. When he looked out, he was furious. A figure appeared in his sight, running towards the Devourers. It was Fang Xiaoun. "Everyone prepare for battle," Wang Feng roared into the intercom with a sullen face, then exposed himself and rushed towards Fang Xiaoun. However, Fang Xiaoun was also an agile awakener. Seeing that Wang Feng wanted to intercept her, she immediately activated her ability and shouted loudly, Master number 5. Help, someone is going to ambush you. They are in the houses around the central square. There are more than 3,000 people. Hearing Fang Xiaoyun's shout, the devourers not only did not rush to protect Fang Xiaoyun, but all stopped in place and looked around cautiously. Wang Feng stopped after Fang Xiaoyun shouted. Although if he launched the hurricane now, he would definitely be able to kill Fang Xiaoyun before she reached the devourers, but her words had already exposed the location of their ambush, and even the number of them, so there was no need to kill her. Wang Feng just felt sad in his heart. This girl who still had a sense of justice in her heart actually became a traitor to mankind. I wonder what she would think when she saw the true face of the devourers. It seems that her so-called sense of justice is based on her own preferences. Those who she likes are good people, and those who she doesn't like are bad people. It's that simple. Yun Yun. Come back. Even Zhao Ying did not expect Fang Xiaoyun's move. When she saw Fang Xiaoyun rushing out, it was too late. She had no time to stop her, so she could only shout loudly behind her. However, Fang Xiaoyun had already determined that those people in the Hope Base were bloodthirsty demons, and number 5 was her backer. She completely ignored Zhao Ying's shouting. Assemble. Wang Feng jumped onto the statue in the central square and shouted loudly. Since they were already exposed, hiding any longer would only add to the jokes. They might as well stand up and face off head-on. At this time, Fang Xiaoyun had come to number 5 and the others. Standing in front of number 5, she pointed at Wang Feng and the guards who had appeared one after another and gathered in front of him and said, Master number 5. Master number 1 and the others were deceived by these people and then killed. Now they come back here to ambush you and want to kill you too. Fang Xiaoyun. Are these the people? Are there any other people? Number 5 looked at Wang Feng and the others and asked with some doubts in his eyes. They had now reached the defense wall and could see Wang Feng and the others completely. In their feeling, these people seemed to be human beings, not the same kind of other ethnic groups as they imagined. Although there were many people, as long as they were human beings, there was nothing to worry about. No. Master. These are the people. They killed hundreds of us as soon as they came. Then after Master number 1 and the others came back. Fang Xiaoyun told number 5 what happened before in detail. Oh? Hope Base? Millions of people? Is this true or did they deliberately exaggerate to deceive number 1 and the others? Number 5 did not seem to care much about the death of number 1 and the others, but asked about the number of people in the Hope Base. Well, it shouldn't be much of an exaggeration. Anyway, as far as I know, their Hope Base has a population of several million. Fang Xiaoyun thought for a while and answered. She knew about the Hope Base from the people who escaped from the Hope Base. Those guys were good at exaggeration. If they didn't say more about the population of the Hope Base, their lies would be exposed. After all, according to them, the bloody butcher Lu Feng killed hundreds of thousands of people at a time. If the population of the Hope Base was not more, how could this guy kill enough? Ha 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 ha. Number 5. It seems. You have to make a contribution this time, another devourer laughed loudly. As long as the other party is human, there is nothing to be afraid of. Millions. Tens of millions would be better. Who would complain that there are too many fat sheep delivered to the door? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 429. After hearing what the devourer said, number 5 was not too proud. He just smiled and said, let's go. Let's go up and take a look first. Maybe there are not so many. By the way, Fang Xiaoyun, are your people still there? Although he said it very lightly, his tone still revealed his thoughts. Yes. They are all there. They want these people to go to the Hope Base. Sister Ying wanted to agree, but I didn't agree. I want to stay here and wait for the adults. Now they are hiding in the buildings outside this wall. Fang Xiaoun looked at number 5 with admiration, as if a girl before the end of the world was looking at her idol. Number 5. Can't you see that this little girl cares about you? Since there are so many humans, why don't you give this little girl to me? She is so beautiful and looks delicious. How about letting me taste it first? Let me thank her for you. The devourer who just spoke looked at Fang Xiaoun and smiled. Ah! Master No 5, Fang Xiaoun couldn't help but hold her clothes tightly when she heard the words of the devourer, and looked at number 5 with a look of doubt. It seemed that Fang Xiaoun still didn't believe Wang Feng's words, and still regarded number 5 and the others as humans, so she also misunderstood the words of the devourer. The devourer was a serious person. He really ate her when he said he would eat her, not the kind of being eaten by her, as she imagined, without taking off clothes. Number 5 also looked at Fang Xiaoun a little strangely, a little confused about why she was holding her clothes, but because he wanted to find out as soon as possible whether the population of the Hope Base was several million, number 5 was a little anxious at this time and had no time to care about these things. Moreover, since he knew that there was nothing serious in the city and the survivors were still there, Fang Xiaoun was no longer useful to him. Because his people have come, that is to say, there are enough people to look after the sheep, so the life and death of Fang Xiaoun, the head sheep, is naturally not in his eyes. As if he did not see Fang Xiaoun's pleading and frightened eyes, number 5 grabbed Fang Xiaoun and threw her directly to number 7 who asked for him. Anyway, there are plenty of humans here, so there is no need to compete with this guy. For them, beauty has absolutely nothing to do with taste. Just like people eating pork, people only care about whether the pork is fresh. Who would ask the butcher whether the pig was good looking when it was alive? Fang Xiaoun, who also possessed the ability of an awakener, had no power to resist in front of number 5 and was thrown directly to number 7. Number 7 picked up Fang Xiaoun and was about to start devouring Fang Xiaoun's life energy when a devourer behind him stopped him. Number 7. Wait. Do you see the front? Those guys seem to want to fight with us. How about bringing them to eat? It is said that when humans face fear and pressure, the life energy in their bodies will become stronger. That's a good idea. Number 7 looked at the people gathered in the central square and nodded, then go there to eat and let them see what a terrible enemy they are about to face. Will this scare away the people around here? Number 5 asked. Fang Xiaoun said that those people are hiding in the outer buildings. If they flee in all directions, it will be a bit troublesome to catch them. No, the humans on this planet have a very strange emotion. Isn't this person their leader? After catching her, maybe those people will run out by themselves. The devourer who just stopped number 7 from devouring Fang Xiaoun said. No. As far as I know, not all humans are like this. More people may ignore their leaders and run away directly. Number 5 shook his head and said. Ha! People like that are easier to deal with. Among humans, they call such people cowards. We just need to kill 2 of them when they run away, and then tell them that whoever runs again will be killed. They will stay where they are. Even if we lock them up and drag one out to eat every day, they will only hope in their hearts that they are not the ones chosen, and will not resist. The devourer has studied human psychology very thoroughly. To be honest, I hope that those people are the latter, because such people are easier to control and manage. Don't be careless. So, leave 20 people on the periphery to prevent anyone from escaping, and the rest, we will go there to meet these brave humans. Number 5 assigned. Okay. Then I'll stay. You guys just go and take care of those guys. Remember to kill as few as possible. After these people die, the life energy in their bodies will quickly dissipate. There is no way to save it, said the devourer who spoke just now. You don't need to teach me this. Just kill a few and scare them. Don't kill them all, that would be a waste. Number 5 waved his hand casually. I say. Let's not be too careless, after all, this human just said that they killed number 1 and the others, maybe these humans are also a bit powerful. After hearing what the two said, number 7 became cautious instead, looking at Fang Xiaoun who was held in his hand and said. Don't even think about it. Number 1 and the others must have been unprepared. They were just thinking about the humans over there. They were attacked by them in the end, so they died. They deserved it. Who made them careless? Number 5 he said carelessly that he didn't care about the death of number 1. They were all named by numbers. The number of devourers in a group would be determined by the number. Those who died would be replaced by the ones behind. Although this number does not represent their identity, after all, number 1 sounds better, right? So, now that number 1 is dead, when things here are over, they will reorder, and by then, he will be number 1. However, when number 5 said that number 1 and the others deserved to die because they were careless, he did not expect that. He did not appear to be very careful now, and what number 7 said was precisely not to let them be careless. Okay, okay. Get it done quickly. It will be dark soon. When the time comes, these guys will take advantage of the darkness to escape. If they are caught, they will cause trouble, the devourer who volunteered to stay urged impatiently. Okay. Let's go. Don't make ink here. After dealing with them quickly, lock them all up. We have dug a large basement under the central square to lock up these humans. I must have never imagined that they have been helping us dig out our own cells these days, ha 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 ha. Number 5 smiled proudly and glanced at Fang Xiaoun. Fang Xiaoun, who had listened to their conversation from beginning to end, naturally knew the truth of the matter at this time, and also understood that what Wang Feng said was true. She couldn't help but feel a trace of guilt in her heart. However, she was immediately overcome by the fear in her heart. Overwhelmed, she now understood that these aliens did not covet her beauty, but really wanted to eat her. They don't think of themselves as beauties, but just food, just food. Now, Fang Xiaoun really hopes that these devourers are normal human beings and normal men who will eat her in the same way as normal men. At least, then she should still be able to survive. The fear of death filled her heart. However, now she did not beg again, because she also knew that these people were not human beings. They are aliens, as Wang Feng said, they are here to destroy human beings and this planet. In their eyes, they are just food. No one will care about a pleading for food. Everyone is slaughtered. The livestock will scream hysterically and struggle desperately, but the butcher knife will still end its life. However, Fang Xiaoun still holds a glimmer of hope in her heart, because these devourers said that they must bring her to Wang Feng and the others before they can truly eat him. Wang Feng and the others have always wanted to save people like themselves, so he will not stand idly by and will definitely save himself. After Fang Xiaoun knew the identity of the devourer, she naturally understood that she had wronged Wang Feng. Wang Feng had asked them to move to the Hope Base in order to save them. In other words, Wang Feng was really a good person. Since he was a good person, he would not watch himself being eaten in front of him by the devourer who was carrying him. Thinking of this, Fang Xiaoun's heart once again ignited the hope of life, but she forgot why she fell into the hands of these devourers, and why Wang Feng had to save one of them, even if he did not hesitate to activate his supernatural powers. Who also want to warn their enemies and expose their position. Are good people born to be tricked? After making the decision, 20 of the more than 100 devourers dispersed around the defensive wall, preparing to capture the survivors when they fled, while number 5 took the remaining devourers with them. The group, including number 7, who was holding Fang Xiaoun in his hands, walked towards Wang Feng and the others. This time, they were obviously no longer as cautious as before. Remember, kill their leader as soon as possible and force them to surrender. It should be dark in less than 20 minutes. Try to resolve the battle before then. Number 7 walked, while said to number 5. Then, number 7 lifted Fang Xiaoun up again, looked at Fang Xiaoun's face and asked, which ones are their heads? You'd better answer quickly, otherwise, I don't mind eating a little first, and you can eat a little anyway, won't die. Seeing no 7's sinister expression, Fang Xiaoun, who originally wanted to be tough, was so frightened that she stretched out her hand, pointed at Wang Feng standing on the statue and said, he is the head, and the 2 people standing next to the statue too. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 430. Looking at Fang Xiaoun's finger pointing at him, Wang Feng also saw her lip language and couldn't help shaking his head and sighing. It seemed that Fang Xiaoun was really dedicated to selling out his intelligence. Of course, Wang Feng, who had been staring at the devourers, also heard what they said just now. Wang Feng really wanted to thank these devourers for maintaining such a good tradition. They didn't communicate in their own way, but used the common language of their planet to talk. When Fang Xiaoun rushed out, Zhao Ying also rushed out of the building where she was hiding, trying to stop Fang Xiaoun. However, because Fang Xiaoun's movements were too fast, she couldn't stop her. Because she believed a lot of what Wang Feng said, she didn't rush up again, but stood there and watched. It was okay at the beginning, but who knew that Fang Xiaoun was actually caught by them later? Although Zhao Ying didn't have Wang Feng's eyesight and couldn't see Fang Xiaoun's terrified expression, she also knew that this was definitely not a good thing. Seeing Fang Xiaoun being caught by the devourer and held in his hand like a chicken, Zhao Ying was immediately anxious. After Fang Xiaoun's father died, Zhao Ying transferred his feelings for that man to Fang Xiaoun, and even regarded her as his own daughter. Seeing Fang Xiaoun in danger at this time, of course, he was extremely anxious. He waved his hand to summon his subordinates who were still hiding in the building, and then Zhao Ying led them to walk towards Wang Feng. The other survivors hiding in the building did not understand what Zhao Ying meant, but seeing her gestures, they all knew that it was Zhao Ying who was calling them over, and the people who were hiding in the same building with Zhao Ying had all come out, so they also walked out of their hiding places one after another and gathered towards the central square. However, not all people came out, and only a small number of people came out, probably just over 10,000. After all, because they wanted to watch Wang Feng and his men's battle, the hiding places they chose were all places with better views, so most people saw what happened just now, and they were not short of telescopes. Although they couldn't hear the content of the communication between Fang Xiaoun and the devourer, most people could see the final result, that is, what Wang Feng and the others said was true. So, they almost understood what Zhao Ying wanted to do when she called everyone out at this time. These people basically knew Zhao Ying's feelings for Fang Xiaoun. Now that Fang Xiaoun was captured, Zhao Ying must save her. However, Fang Xiaoun herself is an awakener, one of the few strong people in their base. She didn't even have the slightest struggle in the hands of those people. They went up. Can it work? Even if they wanted to ask Wang Feng and the others to take action, let alone whether Wang Feng and the others were opponents of the devourer, first of all, whether they would agree was a problem. These survivors were not little girls like Fang Xiaoun who knew nothing. They saw Fang Xiaoun's actions clearly. She just pitted others in front of them, and then begged them to save you. Especially the one who captured you was the one you went to tip off and regarded as your backer. Is there such a fool in the world? If there really is such a person, it is impossible for him to survive in the apocalypse until now. He would have been screwed to death long ago. Zhao Ying came to the statue in the center of the city. Wang Feng turned his head and looked at her, then said coldly, I remember asking you to stay there honestly and not come out, and you promised me. Now, I'm here to ask you to save Yun Yun. I know that everything is her fault. I promise she won't do it again next time. Zhao Ying suddenly knelt in front of the statue and said to Wang Feng. Won't do it again next time? Yes. It really won't. Because there won't be a next time, Wang Feng didn't even look at Zhao Ying, but focused his eyes on the devourers who were swaggering towards him. Please. Save her. She's still young and ignorant. She doesn't know what she's doing at all. I promise. Zhao Ying began to kowtow to Wang Feng and continued to pray. Shut up, Wang Feng said disgustedly, little? How old is she and still young? I'm sure that when she was really young, her family protected her like this, right? No matter what kind of trouble they have caused, they will use the excuse that the children are young and ignorant, so when these children grow up, they get used to getting into trouble and don't care about the consequences. The children are young. Are the adults who educate them also young? The children are ignorant, so are her parents also raised by eating shit? Don't say this in front of me. Anyone who can say this is an idiot who doesn't know shit. No matter how old the child is, 5 or 50 years old, if he makes a mistake, he must take responsibility. If he doesn't even have the courage to take responsibility, how can he be called a human being? Fang Xiaoun is in this day, her family is at least 90% responsible. Children need to be educated, not raised. If you feed them well, just like raising pigs, you don't teach them anything, and hold them in your hands every day. Are you raising children or ancestors? You don't care so much about your own parents, right? Do you know? If no one had warned these devourers, I would have been able to kill them without losing a single brother if we had waited until nightfall. But now, because of her, one of us might die in this battle. And now you have the nerve to ask me to save a woman who put my brothers in danger. If I do this, will these brothers follow us willingly? I hope the base will collapse soon. Regarding your request, I only have 4 words, you, if I don't destroy you right away, it's already, good temper, tell you, don't pretend to be pitiful in front of me, save yourself. I don't know this idiot. Wang Feng was quite angry at this moment. Zhao Ying originally performed quite well, and it could be seen that she basically believed her words completely. However, due to the obstruction of Fang Xiaoun, she reluctantly stayed and planned to take a look at the results before making a decision. What she didn't expect was that after Fang Xiaoun did such a thing, she would dare to ask him to save someone. Let's not talk about what Fang Xiaoun did before, which is enough to make Wang Feng kill her without regretting it. Even if she is a stranger, it is quite difficult to rescue her now when she is caught by the devourer. The devourer is not stupid. Once he sees himself, if they want to save the people they catch, they will definitely make a fuss about it. A rat-throwing weapon. Of course, Wang Feng, who had rescued hostages before, would not be unfamiliar with these 4 words. Even if he was a stranger, Wang Feng would not let the guardian soldiers risk their lives to rescue him. What's more, Fang Xiaoun had just sold herself and others. The person who went out and caught her and wanted to use her as food was still the backer in her heart. She should bear her own mistakes. Wang Feng would never do such a thing. I don't know this idiot. Out of anger, Wang Feng shouted his last words loudly, and even the approaching devourers heard these words. What do you mean, idiot? Are you talking about this human being? Number 7 mentioned Fang Xiaoun again out of curiosity, looked at it and asked. Yeah. It's about her, I mean to compliment her on how beautiful she is. Of course number 5 knew what the idiot meant and deliberately misinterpreted it. Well. From a human perspective, she is indeed quite stupid. Number 7 did not doubt that he was there. He looked at Fang Xiaoun again and said solemnly. Fang Xiaoun naturally heard these words, and a look of despair appeared on her face. Before, she still had great hope that Wang Feng could save her, because she knew that she was very beautiful, and because before the apocalypse, with her father's protection and Zhao Ying's protection after the apocalypse, she has never experienced a man until now. Therefore, Fang Xiaoun believes that when she comes to Wang Feng, as long as she agrees to be his woman, Wang Feng will definitely save her. After all, in this apocalyptic world, a beautiful woman like her, especially one who has never touched her, should basically be gone. Although she has not experienced it, Fang Xiaoyun fully knows the darkness of the end of the world. Even in their base, there are many women who dare not go out and choose to exchange their bodies for food. No one can stop this kind of thing. Besides, in this end of the world, there can be a strong man to protect them. Can be regarded as a woman's luck. Wang Feng is undoubtedly a good candidate. Not only is he very powerful, but he also has so many powerful subordinates and a base with a population of several million. If she becomes his woman, she might be able to survive in this apocalypse. Better. What Fang Xiaoyun doesn't know is that if Wang Feng is really willing to let her be his woman, no one knows whether Fang Xiaoyun will live well or not, but Wang Feng knows that she will not live long. Lu Wanting gets angry, but that is not Wang Feng bearable. Knowing that Wang Feng would definitely not take action, Zhao Ying stood up and ignored the blood on his forehead from kowtowing just now. He looked directly at his men and said, "I want to save Yun Yun. Which of you is willing to come?" Zhao Ying's men looked at each other, and then some people came to Zhao Ying one after another. Although they did not speak, the expressions on their faces showed their attitude, and more people quietly came to Zhao Ying. After retreating, there were only about 3,000 people standing in front of Zhao Ying. Wang Feng looked at it and sighed in his heart. It can be said that these more than 3,000 people are all good people who repay their kindness. However, just because of an unruly woman, they are about to die in front of his eyes. However, Wang Feng had no intention of stopping them, nor did he change his mind to save Xiaoyun. Everyone had their own choice. It didn't matter whether it was right or wrong, it only mattered about their stance. Get out of the way and let them rescue people, Wang Feng waved his hand and ordered to the guardian army in front of him.